Gran Turismo 4 has 721 cars from 80 different manufacturers in this game. Lots of American cars, European cars, and of course a lot of Japanese models. Now, out of those 80 different manufacturers in this game, what if we stayed loyal to one single manufacturer from start to finish in Gran Turismo 4? I thought about this idea for quite some time, and ultimately I decided there's one ultimate brand that can actually do almost every single competition. I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. So for this challenge run, we are going to be using Toyotas. Toyota is the only brand that I was able to find that can do almost every single competition in this game, from the beginner to the professional series. So we'll see if any of these Toyota beauties can carry us through this game. Having mentioned Toyota, there's one thing I gotta mention for this challenge run. Toyota owns a lot of different brands, like they own 100% of Daihatsu, Lexus, I think they own Scion as well if I'm not mistaken. And even though Toyota owns those brands, we're just not gonna be using any of those. We're explicitly gonna use cars that have a Toyota badge on it. And with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this challenge run. Just like every run of Gran Turismo, I need to obtain my licenses in order to compete in the events. Since none of the license reward cars are Toyotas, it's better to just speedrun through them quickly and get it done with. The Lupo GTI and Pontiac Sunfire from these licenses will come in handy for some extra cash since we don't need any of them. Even the Pontiac as well, though it doesn't give us anything because it's a concept, just so the Toyota lawyers doesn't catch me breaking the terms of loyalty. Now time to pick a Starica. I got a bit more cash to play with, so with that in mind, it's time to figure out which ride could get me through a lot of events. There's a couple of Celicas in here, but they were way above my budget. There was this thing. No. Okay, maybe not this one. A unique looking Sera with its door open, and then we stumble upon this amazing beauty, the MK3 Supra. Personally, my favorite out of all of them, so that was an instant pick right there. Before trying this beauty out, we gotta give some hydration to our lovely GT guy. And now the journey truly begins with everyone's favorite cup, the Sunday Cup. And I gotta say, lads, this was gonna be tough as shit, but with some luck, we managed to win all of the events to get the very first prize car of the run. None other than the Italian Yugo. Look, before you say in the comments that it's clearly an Auto Bianchi, this thing is the closest I will ever get to having a Yugo in a game. That and Pepega Pro Street. But as much as I like it, I have to sell it, otherwise the Toyota gods will punish me with a pink Vitz. Next stop in the beginner league is the FR Cup. A little bit more difficult since we didn't add any upgrades, but one thing I've learned from Max Verstappen is you just send it and hope your opponents don't challenge you, which in this case, well, they never properly challenge you. The rest were rather simple to overtake, so that's the second cup of this challenge in the bag. We got more cash in the form of a Nissan 2000 GT, which would be good for the World Classic Championship, but no Toyota badge on this car, so it goes to the junkyard. Now, some of you that play this game might recognize this specific event. For those that don't know, Costa di Amalfi Easy has a Toyota RSC car, which can be sold for a lot of money, and you could redo it over and over again, getting a boatload of cash in the process. But for this run, we actually are going to use this Toyota for the later professional events. So after cruising around this beautiful place twice, we get to claim a new Toyota to the lineup. Now for this next event, I was a little bit clumsy. See, there's a special condition event that gives you the Celica GT4 as a reward, and at the time I thought the Ice Arena event was the one that provides the car when I was doing this live, which by the way, if you want to watch these challenge runs, I usually stream them over on Twitch, so check out the link in the description or subscribe and be notified whenever I go live. So I was doing this event thinking in my head I was going to leave off with a fresh new Celica until I got this car. Your new reward is the Toyota RSC01? Oh, never mind. Putting that blunder aside, it's time to continue with the challenge. Next up is the Tuning Car Grand Prix, and with this car, we don't have to struggle too much on it, apart from the Yellowbird giving us a little bit of a battle. Oh god! What a blunder. I'm sorry, rough enjoyers. After finishing the Tuning Car Grand Prix, time to set our eyes on the Boxer Spirit Cup. Now this competition is full of Subarus and Roughs, and you usually use one of the two for this competition, but with this challenge we only had one specific vehicle that we could use, and that is the Toyota Sports 800, which only had 44 horsepower stock, so upgrades were a big necessity with this car. After all of these upgrades, you'd think it wouldn't be too difficult, right? 200 points. Oh, brother. That won't be that bad, right? I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, sedans. There's a lot of sedans in here, chap. I think we might stand a chance. It's 200 points still, but it's Hong Kong. A lot of sharp corners and all that. 7.3. But I am keeping up, though. If this guy pulls us, we might be able to get closer. 5.6. Okay. Hong Kong could be doable. I think it's doable. I just need a better start. So basically, you have to use the nitro in every single position possible. I think that'll be my goal. Try and keep up with the NOS, and if I'm ahead, I'll just, you know, block them as much as I can. And I need better exits as well while trying to keep up. Not hitting the walls, basically. I think that'll be the go-to strategy. But it's so hard around here as well. Oh my god, why did I not think of this? Spoiler, dude. We could put some more downforce on this thing, maybe. So we can put something like this for 1200 credits. Bump up the downforce all the way to the max. So no 22B and no roughs, and we should stand a chance. And as I expected, we have 2 roughs. No, actually 3 roughs. I think this is the best we can do right now in terms of lineups. I see that Subaru in the distance. We're not that far. We just need a little bit more NOS and we're good. 2.6, come on. Just hold on a little bit more. Not a lot left. Oh, man. That's gonna be tough. It is doable, though. As long as I drive cleanly and don't hit too many walls, I should be able to keep up. Now it was only the matter of nailing every single corner possible to keep up with the opponents. 5.2, oh my god, that was such a good sector. And of course, a few dive bombs were a bit necessary with this event. 3.7, and I still have half of my NOS. We kept pushing as much as possible as we send it down the inside of the Subaru and take second place. Only half of the NOS bottle is left, and we use every bit of it to catch up to the first guy. 1.8. Right there, man. Yeah, it is very intense. Thank you, brother. Now we play the block game. Or do that. Man, he has so much speed, it's insane. But I'll get this corner. Oh my god! Oh, the other guy overtook him. I have to survive 2 laps now in front. Oh god, I'm just a fucking roadblock for these guys. I might be able to form a gap somewhere, though. Just a little bit of a gap. No! Okay, I'll give him the corner. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, brother! Oh my god, that Puntarino helped me out so much. One more lap. One more lap in first place is all I need. This is the most intense event I've ever had in this game. They're just homing missiles, man. They're charging at you in sight. Holy shit! There's so many! There's so many! Are we good enough? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Yes! We got it! Oh my god. Can't believe we fucking won that. That was amazing. So that was the first event, by the way. That's the first. We have Infineon and Deep Forest. Now, Deep Forest, that event has too many long straights. I'm not sure what to think about that one. 200-point race. Look at the long straights, man. There's no narrow corners. There's no way I'm gonna be able to keep up with this thing. You know what? Let's see. Oh, dude! Yo! This is actually doable. 190. We need a bigger gearbox for this. We need a bigger gearbox. They're not taking the corners. They're slowing down. Okay, so let's put this at an, I don't know, 12. That should easily get us to 200 kilometers. Oh, wow. We're so close already, man. Oh, God. Thank you for having some concrete there, man. Oh, that was beautiful. Hello. Can't believe we're here. Legit cannot believe it. Okay, 2 seconds for now. I'll keep the remainder of the NOS for the long straight. I legit thought I was screwed here, that I would need to buy a different car. Really happy it worked out. It's gonna do even better in the classic car championship because it's so well tuned as it is right now. Okay, one more race to go. Just a good dive bomb and good cornering, and we're set. We're overtaking a 22B in this thing. This car's the GOAT. I guess the rough will be my only competition for this one. Hello? Oh, hello there. A little bit too close for my comfort, if I may say so. I love these championships where you're in such a slow car and still are able to beat them. It gives you such a good feeling. Feels 10 times better versus beating them like in an OP car. Feels like you actually fought for a win. We are done with Box's Spirit Lads. With this little beauty, man. Still can't believe we were able to complete Boxer's Spirit with this itsy bitsy tiny car, but it felt amazing pushing it to victory. Oh, the lovely yellow birds. You know what is also lovely? My bank account. We moved on forwards with more cups. The next one on the list is the 4-wheel drive cup, and to my surprise, this cup actually gives a Toyota as well. Toyota Motor Triathlon race car that we cannot use. It's a Toyota at least. Next up we had FF Cup, and for this one I didn't have any eligible cars, so we had to go shopping again in the used car market for a potential candidate. The Prius could have been alright, but it costed a lot more than the car I actually picked, which was a Celica with 162 horsepower, almost 100 more power, and for a cheaper price. The AI here is a bit more challenging, especially trying to keep them behind with their insane straight line speed. On Suzuka East they tend to brake a lot more, so it was a lot easier to overtake them in a single lap. Then Hong Kong, overtaking most of them was a piece of cake, but the Peugeot at pole position was a tougher opponent, and to overtake it, it required a certain strategy that you might be used to in other games. Worth it. Worth it. Grand Valley was mainly holding back the torpedoes on the long straights, and Twin Rig was a cakewalk. With that, FF Cup has been completed as well. Next up we have the K-Car Cup. And this is the point where we're gonna have to bend the rules a bit. Toyota has no K-Cars whatsoever among the small collection of K-Cars in this game. And I know what you might be thinking. Challenge run is over, end the video here. And yeah, that would be a logical solution. But first thing to understand with this game is no manufacturer can do every single competition. All of them either will have missed out on 1 or 2 cups due to specific events like the truck competition, which only has less than 10 to select from. The challenge so far was really enjoyable, and I wasn't going to end it over the K-Car competition, so we used the best alternative car of all time for this. Before using it, however, it's time to pimp this ride. It's safe to say our car is a beast now, demolishing all of the opponents in each event, letting us move on to the next event. Is what I would say, but I just remembered about the international licenses, so I went back to the license center to obtain them. While we are here, we can treat this as a little coffee break between the challenge. So, how are you doing, Lunch? I hope you're having a fantastic day, and if you're not, I hope this video is able to cheer you up just a little bit. For those that are new to the channel, I do have a lot of other challenges that I've done in the past if you are interested in watching more of my content. You can also leave a like and a sub, as it does help my channel tremendously. And with that, let's get back to the challenge. Next competition is the MR Challenge, and for this one I used the MR2 Spider, which also is usable for the Spider and Roadster competition, and we slapped some upgrades on it. On Driving Park, opponents don't matter much because of the corner cutting you can easily do here. Autumn Ring, we overtook everyone by the end of the first lap, and same goes for the remaining events as well. Not a hard competition. We followed it with Spider and Roadster, which again, the MR2 just crushed it with ease. When I bought this car, I only thought it could do those 2 cups, but actually it was qualified for the World Compact Series as well, which you can imagine how that played out. It's time to pull out the old reliable Sports 800 again to do the World Classics Championship. And all of the upgrades we added before made this event go by really quick. Even ended up going to B-Spec mode on some of them because they were that easy. And as for our reward, we get the best vehicle of all time, the Daimler Motor Carriage, man. Absolute unit. But the Toyota gods didn't deem it worthy of staying in our garage. Now we are slowly getting closer to the final events. I had to decide which Toyota will be facing the GT World Championship. We had quite a few options in here. One of them was the Minolta, but that wasn't possible because you need to complete 25% of the game, and playing this game with only Toyotas, you are quite limited on what events you can actually do. Second option, the Toyota GT1, which costs 4.5 million. It could be possible, but that would require a lot of repetition on a certain event. Let's be honest, this is boring for me to do and boring for you to watch, so that option goes out the window. Option number 3, Castrol Tom Supra with a turbo upgrade, was originally the idea I had, but same as the Toyota GT1, it costs 1.3 mil, and it would require doing the Costa di Amalfi race over and over, and I don't want to do that because grinding is lame. So that leaves us with one more Toyota that we can use, the Toyota 7 race car, which you get from driving missions. Prior to doing this challenge run, I have never really done any missions, so I thought I would need to do all of these challenges before getting to the ones I need to do. So that's why I avoided them for such a long time until Twitch chat educated me on how these missions actually worked. So all I needed to do was complete 5 one-lap magic events, which honestly were really fun to do. I've usually watched these types of runs on YouTube from GT Rufus, which by the way you should check out as well, but doing them myself felt really enjoyable, especially with the different cars that the game gives you. The Toyota gods are merciful enough to allow me to drive these. So all we had to do now was finish off the remaining beginner and professional events to unlock the final championship. We got the truck series, which we used the Tacoma for, and it's the best truck for it since it's so much lighter than the opponents. Most people say that the Toyota 7 can be tricky to control, so I wanted to practice a little bit with the car. I put some sports tires on it and tried out Clubman Cup. It was a little bit rough on the edges, but it did have sports tires, so I couldn't completely tell how it would be with racing tires later on. I also used it for Race of Turbos and completed that with no problems. Next up we had the Race of NA Sports, and I found this Supra in the used car lot, which was perfect for it since it didn't have a turbo, and I gave it some slight modification. Gave me a fright at first when I saw 114 points, but honestly there wasn't really any issues overtaking the opponents. With some well-placed drafting, I got my opportunity eventually. Same goes for Apricot Hill and pretty much most of the tracks in this competition. Second to last competition is the Supercar Festival, and the car I chose for this was our starter car, the MK3 Supra. With all kinds of upgrades slapped onto it, it was gonna compete against definitely production-looking cars. I'm looking at you, Cadillac. It was definitely gonna be a little bit tricky, especially with the tire management, but slowly and surely I made my way to first place. It was mainly one opponent that was giving me trouble at times since they would fly off on every long straight. Eventually I got close for an overtake. Crossing the finish line, our base MK3 Supra has won us the Supercar Festival, leaving only the penultimate championship for the challenge run. Before we attempt that, our GT guy has been lacking hydration for quite some time, so we gotta give him a little bit of used oil. Always make sure to check on your GT guy, lads. Now we are ready for Gran Turismo World Championship, and this is the lineup we are facing off for the next 10 events. The Ford GT and Chevy Camaro were basically back markers, so the real competition is the Toyota GT1, Bentley Speed 8, and the Peugeot 905. I didn't have the best of starts due to the tires being cold, but for now we are chilling in third place and getting into second place before the second lap, where we stay there for quite some time. It wasn't the easiest to keep up with the Toyota GT1, but I still tried my best. I did have a cheeky little plan to see if I could catch up, and it did work quite a bit. The tires were still really good, and I got to overtake the GT1. Now I know what you might say, wall riding like a Forza game, but you gotta understand, the Toyota 7 can be a death trap at times with how it struggles to turn, so you gotta use whatever you can to your advantage. And just like that, we won the first race in the championship. Next up is Twin Ring Motegi, and I won't sugarcoat it. This track sucked for this car. With it barely being able to turn, I was pretty much channeling in my inner Ross Chastain to keep up with the AI. There wasn't anything else I could do, so the best I got was a P3 finish, putting us P2 in the standings, just 2 points behind the Peugeot. Moving on next, we got Hong Kong, which is a narrow street track, which if you want to win, you must qualify on for a good start. Reminds me a lot of Monaco, and lucky for us, I managed to get pole position. Now it's just holding off the opponents as long as possible. The tire strategy for most of these events would be keeping racing hards on the back and racing mediums on the front, since the tires on the back tend to heat up a lot quicker than the fronts. They were close for most of the event. If I got overtaken, I was able to easily regain on the corners. Sadly, I wasn't able to keep the GT1 back forever, so I let it through. My main priority was keeping the Peugeot as far back as possible. I pitted on lap 10 for a fresh set of tires and played the chasing game as I exited the pits. Now the Camaro and the Ford GT are gods around here, simply because they tend to block half of the grid, giving me such a good opportunity to catch up to them. Oh dude, there's a car ahead! There's 2 cars ahead of the Toyota, and there's 3 laps to go. The 2 cars ahead, they need to slow down the GT1. I have such a chance to extend my lead over the Peugeot. They need to do their job. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. 5.9. You absolute giga. Come on, continue. He's literally pushing the Camaro. He can go for it. Oh, man. Do we have enough time? It's 2 laps. A win is on the cards, ladies and gentlemen. Camaro, you beautiful bastard. Look at him. Hello, buddy. Oh, pal. I missed ya. Let's go, baby. So I'll just try and overtake him on some section where I can. Ow. Two can play that game, amigo. Oh, God. 3 cars fighting for the win now. Oh, brother. I need to get him out of my sight somehow. I need some good overtake. Problem is, if I hit him, the other 2 will overtake. Oh, very good, very good, very good, very good. Yes, 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 yes! That Camaro deserves such a big-ass hug. Can't believe it, man. That Camaro single-handedly gave us a chance for a win. He's the true minister of defense in this event. Let's go! Oh my god. We won this fucking event, and the Peugeot is in 4th place. All the way in 4th place, man. That gives us a huge chunk of points. He only gets 3 points. Oh, man, that was beautiful. With the Camaro being such a gigachad, I retake the lead in the championship and move on to the next event on Seoul. And this one was probably the easiest event to complete. The opponents were always far back, and I even had a 12-second lead at one point. I extend my lead to 9 points heading towards El Capitan and securing ourselves pole position while we're there. This track is very tough on the tires, so it was hard to keep them alive for a long period of time. I tried to see if a no-stop strategy would work, but at the final stages it was hard to keep first place, so I lost out on this one against the Peugeot, being 28 seconds behind. Would I have won if I tried to avoid a Ferrari strategy and catch up to it? I don't know. It was a tough race overall. We go to the Big Apple next with a similar strategy, with us getting pole position and trying to hold off the opponents as best as I can, and I survived till lap 11, switching to medium compounds and chasing after the leader. The Bentley pits on lap 13, so I get 2nd place, and the following lap the Peugeot does the same, and I blitz right next to it for the victory. Next up is my least favorite track, Paris. The French manages to plant another surprise for this challenge. It's just really tedious with some of the corners, especially with these cars. In the race we kept the opponents behind till lap 11, and with new tires we were P2, and I thought that was the best I could do on this track, but to my surprise the Peugeot pitted as well, and I overtook it again right as it exited the pit lane, which was a big dub for us with the strategy. Afterwards the Peugeot didn't try to fight us anymore, so we got another victory and a big haul of points for the championship. Suzuka was up next, and this is my favorite track to drive on, but with this car it was just really painful. I tried to see if maybe pitting for mediums would help out, but ultimately this was a big flop, finishing up in 4th place, and the Peugeot has managed to catch up now. It was the only true rival in this championship, as the Toyota and Bentley were far back in terms of points. It was a 6-point lead going into the final 2 events. Grand Valley would be our next destination, and overall it was a very good event for us. I had a fine lead over the Peugeot, and the tire management was really good, so much so that I completed this entire race without pitting and finishing in P1. The Peugeot didn't have a great race, finishing in P3, and with a 12-point lead we have secured Gran Turismo World Championship. The only thing left to do was to finish the final race in Cirque de la Sade to take the trophy home for the Toyota gods, finally proving to the world that the Toyota is the superior brand to all. Apart from the K-Car Cup, you can actually beat this game with only Toyotas and nothing else, man. That was a fun experiment. $250,000 well. We'll pretend K-Cars don't exist. I mean, it's only 3 events. Who gives a shit about K-Cars? Do you give a shit about K-Cars? Probably not, man. You give a shit about JDM cars. I don't know, fucking SUVs. If you give a shit about SUVs, go see a psychiatrist or something like that. Anyways, we get this thing. You can watch the ending movie now. Thank you for watching this challenge run. If you enjoyed it, a like and a subscribe does help out the channel a lot, as we're really close to 10,000 subscribers. Also, thank you to all the YouTube members and patrons that support the channel. Special shoutouts go to Polo and Leon. I will see you lads again next week. Take care.